Welcome to the History Lord. You join us here today and we're close by the junction of Priory Road and Mill Street here in Royal Leamington Spa, and we're on what looks like to be a slipway. But today we're going to be telling you a story about a chap called Samuel Lockhart, who was born in County Durham in 1850 but spent much of his life here in Royal Leamington Spa. And today we're going to tell you what this was used for and tell you about a few of Sam's friends as well. Roll the titles. Sam Lockhart was the first recognised elephant trainer in England, and he was born into a circus family in County Durham in 1850. But he did have a long association with Royal Leamington Spa. He did become the world's foremost elephant trainer, but he didn't begin life as that. He began life as an acrobat. And there are some newspaper reports that Sam and George, his brother, were in Leamington in 1869. Not only were they talented trapeze artists, but they were also talented horsemen as well. We know that in 1869 they appeared as the Flying Trapeze on the bill for George Ginnett's Drawing Room Royal Circus. It was a rather grand name for what we now learn was a small wooden building in Lower Bedford Street that led onto open ground that existed in front of the Pepperbox Chapel. As with most trapeze acts, accidents did happen, and both Sam and George sustained injuries whilst performing and rehearsing their acts in 1875. And a serious injury brought their double act to a premature end. Within a few years, Sam had travelled to Burma, which is modern-day Myanmar, and this was with Wilson's Great World Circus. And it was in 1881, in a timber yard owned by Bombay and Burma Trading, that he saw two baby elephants, which he purchased and arranged to have shipped back to London on the ship SS City of Venice. Now, nobody's quite sure why Sam developed an interest in elephants, but it was proved to be a good sound investment for him. We do know that Sam christened his two baby elephants Jock and Jenny, and almost by accident his career as an elephant trainer began. Over the next 30 or so years he imported numerous elephants, and his most famous troupe were three female elephants, Wilhelmina, Trilby and Haddie, and they were known collectively as the Three Graces. And now there's a statue to the Three Graces in Leamington Spa itself. The original elephants, Jock and Jenny, generally performed together, and they appeared with Sam at Olympia in London in 1887 in front of Queen Victoria. Sam tended to spend only a little bit of time in Leamington before touring with his elephants. Sam's diary was extremely full, and it's hard to know exactly where they were at any one time in the year. We do know, however, in 1892 he was on the bill at the Theatre Royal in Leamington with a troupe of 6 elephants, and in the same year these appeared in the Buffalo Bill's Wild West show before leaving the show in Reims. In 1897 he was topping the bill again at the Theatre Royal in Leamington with 6 elephants, and he also found time in 1897 to put on a show at Warwick Castle. The show was to celebrate Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee, and Lady Warwick, Daisy, was also a close friend of Sam's, and she also owned elephants, which she kept on a river island near the castle. So, have you guessed yet what this slipway actually was built for? Well, rumour has it this was actually built as the Elephant Wash. Yes, you heard me right. This is allegedly where Samuel Lockhart used to bring his elephants to take them all the way down there to the River Lem and have their bath. Not a lot of contemporary evidence that suggests that it was true, but why let that ruin a good story? This is now called the Elephant Wash. By the turn of the 20th century, Sam was beginning to wind down his professional involvements with the elephants. There was a Billboard magazine notice in November 1900 that informed readers Sam Lockhart has sold 5 elephants that had been with the show for a long time, and he'd sold them to Ringling. He carried out further engagements in North America in 1902 and 1903, and we know that he performed in Detroit. that year, and it was billed as the last of these elephants which have been sold to James A. Barnum of Barnum and Bailey Circus. It was the following year, 1904, that Sam received the terrible news that his brother George, who had also been an elephant trainer, had been crushed to death by one of his elephants as they were being unloaded from a train at Walthamstow in London. The last recording of Sam appearing with his elephants is 1910-11, and he was on the bill again at the Theatre Royal in Leamington with 4 elephants, and they were called Mustard, Salt, Little Saucy and Vinegar. Sam lived the rest of his life in Leamington until his death in 1933, and Harriet, his second wife, survived him until 1938. They never had any family, and they're buried in Milverton Cemetery. At the time of his death, Sam had become fairly wealthy and left an estate valued at £15,324. It was reported that Sam Lockhart was paid $1,000 a week for a 52-week season when 4 of his elephants appeared with the Ringling Circus in America. It made him a very wealthy man indeed. From all accounts, he was a well-groomed little man who rose from obscurity to become one of the most significant figures in the Victorian and Edwardian circus and entertainment business. He was generous, kind, and he was a man who greatly loved the animals that he owned and nurtured for many years. Now, attitudes towards animals in the circus have changed over the past few years, but there's no denying that at the time, Sam did bring lots of pleasure to people who went to the circus. Now, whether he bathed them in the rivers at Leamington, well, that's irrelevant. Like I say, why spoil a good story with facts, eh? So that's the story about Leamington Spa and their elephants. It's a great story, and, well, it's part of this town's history, or folklore, whichever you choose. Thanks for watching. We do hope you enjoy these videos. If you do, please subscribe. If you want to see what we do outside of them, then go to Last Line Films. That's James's YouTube and TikTok channel, also his website, or have a look at histlord.co.uk and see what I used to do. Thanks for watching, and yeah, in the old days I'd have made a joke about making a trunk call, but I'm not going to stoop to that level.